Welcome, everyone, to the Q&A session for our upcoming course, The Mind to Matter Laboratory, the 7-week journey to apply scientific breakthroughs to transform your health, heal your body, and create your own reality. I'm Lisa Bonise, and I'm super excited to be hosting this hour-long Q&A conversation for the Shift Network, where we'll explore the teachings of Dawson Church and address questions about his upcoming 7-week course, The Mind to Matter Laboratory, which begins Thursday, June 28th. Later, I'll explain how you can participate in this course, even if you can't attend the live sessions. But first, I want to introduce our guest. Dawson Church is an award-winning author whose best-selling book, The Genie in Your Genes, has been hailed by reviewers as a breakthrough in our understanding of the link between emotions and genetics. His follow-up title, Mind to Matter, reviews the science of peak mental states. Dawson founded the National Institute for Integrative Healthcare to study and implement promising evidence-based psychological and medical techniques. His groundbreaking research has been published in prestigious scientific journals, and he's also a blogger for the Huffington Post. And in just a few minutes, we're going to open up for your questions. But first, I want to welcome Dawson, who will begin our call by telling us a little bit about his work, and then he's going to lead us in an opening meditation. Welcome, Dawson. It is always such a delight to talk to you.
Lisa, it's wonderful to be here and welcome everyone who is here on this call. I so deeply appreciate you being here, and we'll make sure we leave lots of time to both have an experience and also to have all those questions answered. So welcome, good to have you here, and we'll learn a lot in the coming hour. So Mind to Matter is a remarkable discovery for me, a remarkable voyage of discovery for me, because when I began this process, I did not understand how many steps there were in that link between mind and matter, and how well documented each of those links is in science. And as I have interviewed researchers, academics, key scientists, key theoreticians from all kinds of different disciplines, from epigenetics, psychoneuroimmunology, from molecular biology, from quantum physics, from theoretical physics, I've been amazed to find that we can actually demonstrate each link in the chain from mind to matter experimentally in terms of scientific proof. And also what I do with the book and with the course is that I want you to do what's possible to have the best possible life, and not waste time doing things that don't work or that are impossible. And an example of something impossible is, for example, that I'll never be able to hike up Mount Everest, probably. I'll never be a National Basketball Association NBA player. I'll never probably take a rocket ship to the moon. There are things that are unlikely or impossible. But then there are many things that I do create and can create with mind alone. And so what I show in the book, and we'll work with you on showing in your own life in the course, is synchronicity, distant healing. Dramatic effects on your body are not just possible, they are inevitable if you develop the kind of mental abilities that are so easily accessible to people if they use the tools I talk about in the book, and we're going to be practicing in the course. So I'd love to have you join me for the 7-week course. And so what I'll do right now is briefly share with you what I'll cover in the course, then we'll do a brief meditation, and then we'll go to the questions and answers. So I can find out all about the course, the specifics, at the website for the course, which is mind2mattercourse.com. And so there are 7 modules, and these are very carefully structured to take you through a process. The first one is called Preparation for Manifestation. Preparation for Manifestation. And in that first week, I'll talk about why we are the way we are, why our minds work the way they do, why our brains are structured the way they are, why the hardware of our brains works the way it does. I want you to understand all this, because until you understand how the brain works, how the mind works, it's hard to know how a change of mind can produce a change of brain, and how the brain can be a transducer of reality from huge global information fields. So first of all, that first week is our preparation for manifestation, and also starting to get you out of monkey mind. It's really hard. It's really hard to get out of monkey mind. I got a wonderful email 2 days ago from somebody who read my book, Mind to Matter. And she said, I'm a single mom, overwhelmed by the demands of parenting. I'm really burned out. And when I first sat down to do your audio meditation, I was thinking, there's no way I can do this. I've been trying to meditate for a year. I just can't do it. All those thoughts that crowd in. And she said, within a minute, when we reach the point in meditation where I have you breathe through your heart, she said, I was filled with bliss. Tears of joy came to my eyes. And I was in that place I've been wanting to be for so long. I'm going to meditate now every single day. I was so appreciative of that email because it showed me that she wasn't just understanding the material in the book, she was practicing it. So I'm going to show you why you are the way you are, but also from week one of the course, give you the tools to escape that mental trap of mental busyness. In week two, we will look at the way your cells communicate. Your cells are communicating all the time. You have 37 trillion cells in your body. And as I move my hands like this, that involves the action of billions of cells. And they're all coordinated. How do they do that? And then how can you use that information to your advantage? There are 810,000 new cells being born in your body every second. How is this remarkable feat of cell coordination happening, and how you can use energy fields to affect the matter of your body? We'll also be using tools like the EEG. I'll be using a simple small EEG myself to show you how you change, and I'll also be guiding you into the feeling states that indicate that brain change is happening. I can't put an EEG on the scalps of everybody in the course. What I can do, though, is I can give you the physiological signals where you know you are in that highly creative, potential-filled EEG space. Then in Module 3, we'll talk about stress and how stress can totally sidetrack everything else you're doing in your life. You could be doing the best possible thing in terms of exercise and diet and social connections. And if you have too much stress and have high levels of those stress hormones like adrenaline and cortisol, it can sabotage everything else you're doing. So we show in that module how to identify what stress feels like in your body and then shift stress really, really quickly. I've done some famous studies of cortisol. In one that's being published in a peer-reviewed journal soon, in 1 week of practicing these techniques, people lowered their baseline cortisol by 37%. That is a massive shift in biological resources, and I'll show you how you can do that as well in that module. Now, Module 4, I'm just so excited about this stuff. I can hardly contain myself. I try and be cool when explaining this to you. I just want to jump up and down and scream and yell. And this is a very, really wildly enthusiastic group we're going to have here. And it's going to be an energy-filled course because Module 4 is all about being in the flow, that amazing state that when you're just in tune with the universe, in tune with yourself. Your cells are in tune with the universal whole. How to be in the flow and how to make being in the flow not just an accident that happens every once in a while, but something you induce. I've been training coaches now for several years in how to induce flow states in their clients, where it's not just an occasional lucky accident, but something you wake up in the morning and you literally induce flow at the very beginning of your day, and you're then in flow through the whole of your day. I did that this morning myself, and I've been in flow throughout my day. It's wonderful to have a life lived in flow, and we cover that in Module 4. We'll also talk about water and how water changes when it passes through the human energy field and how you can use this practically in your own life. In Module 5, we'll talk about the 4 fundamental forces of physics. And These are forces that have been known for over a century, and they govern physics, and they're regarded as being the fundamental, immutable laws of the universe. They cannot be changed. And we'll look at the research showing that people change them. They change gravity. They change electromagnetism. They change the nuclear forces. People change these by their intentions, but not any old intention. If you have an intention, it doesn't affect material reality. But if you enter a state of material coherence, of mental coherence, of physiological coherence, if you're coherent with great cosmic cycles in this process, this whole branch of science called emergence, and emergence is what makes the birds able to fly in a flock and the fish able to swim in a school. There are these huge global emergent patterns that shape reality. If you are blended, if your consciousness is blended with those huge emergent patterns, then you become mentally coherent. In mental coherence, your intentions have an effect on the material world and are even able to alter those four fundamental forces of physics. And this research is really far out there and exciting and remarkable. And that's Module 5. Module 6 is how to live in synchrony. And when I began writing Mind to Matter, I planned to have a chapter on synchronicity. Carl Jung was in love with synchronicity. Einstein wrote part of his theory of relativity at Carl Jung's house. And they had many long, deep conversations about synchronicity. And Albert Einstein, quipped that synchronicity is God's way of remaining anonymous. And so I thought when I began planning that chapter for the book that it'd be full of stories of synchronicity, because I thought, well, there's no real science behind synchronicity. How wrong I was. When I began to get deep into the science of synchronicity, I found dozens of studies proving that synchronicity is the norm, not the exception. And as long as you're in that mentally coherent state and you're aligned with what I call non-local mind, your local consciousness is one with non-local consciousness, then synchronicity becomes not the exception, but the rule in your life. You wake up every morning, you align, and you then say, universe, what amazing synchronicities will you be bringing me today? So I'm going to have you also posting those synchronicities in the course Facebook page. We'll be looking at those every day. People will be reporting them because research shows that when you become aware of synchronicities and you align yourself with them and you notice them, they multiply. You get more of them. So together, we're going to be reporting and sharing our synchronicities live every day in the course and cultivating the appearance of synchronicity in our lives as we learn to live a synchronous life in harmony with the universe. Then in Module 7, the final module, we will go deep into the whole phenomenon of non-local mind. We'll look at the scientific evidence for mind not being in the brain. Materialists say that mind is an epiphenomenon of complex brains. And the theory is that as human beings got more complex, as evolution progressed, century by century, eventually these really complicated brains we have threw up this phenomenon called consciousness, which we call mind. But I'll show you the research evidence showing that our brains are not the seat of consciousness or the seat of mind, that mind is throughout the universe, and our brains are receivers of mind and receivers of consciousness, much the way your device you're watching this on right now, that I'm not inside your device. I'm not squished there into your iPhone or into your Samsung Galaxy. I am somewhere else, and consciousness is somewhere else and is being received by the receiver of your mind. But just the way if your screen is cracked, if your signal is poor, you can't receive that signal. If your mental processing is not coherent, you aren't able to receive the messages from non-local mind, from intuition, from clairvoyance, from telepathy, from all these other sources, that wonderful benevolent universe that has your good in mind and wants to share those things with you, but you have to have a clear receiver. So we'll talk in Module 7 about non-local mind, about how to cultivate your relationship to non-local mind. Now, again, I want to leave lots of time for questions, so I'm going to leave it at that. You can find all the details and way more at that website, mind2mattercourse.com. You'll find way more information there about the 7 modules and about the course as a whole. So now you'll get handouts every week, and we'll practice techniques every week that bring you into the state of and space of non-local mind and non-local connection. But let's do one right now, and you'll feel it happening in your body. What's also happening in your body is this will be shifting neurotransmitters. Your ratios of serotonin and dopamine will be changing. We know from research that your level of cortisol will be dropping. Your level of these wonderful molecules called immunoglobulins that keep you safe from infection and also from toxins around you in the environment. Your immunoglobulin level will be soaring as you do this. In fact, we'll do this for about 7 or 8 minutes, and you will have about 7 hours of heightened immunity because of the rise in immunoglobulins that happens as a result of our little simple exercise over here. So I'd like you now just to get comfortable wherever you are. Feel your hands, feel your feet. Take a breath. Close your eyes. Now, with your hands, place one hand over your heart, place your other hand over the hand that's on your heart, and imagine your breath is flowing in and out through your heart. With the fingertips of the hand closest to your heart, tap gently and lightly on your skin. And imagine all tension, all stress flowing effortlessly out of your body. You're now tapping on the central meridian of your body. With the other hand, tap gently on the space between your eyebrows. It's 2 fingers. Tap gently on your eyebrows, while with the other hand, you keep tapping your heart. Breathe through your heart, letting go of all stress, all tension. And then reversing, switching hands, reversing where they are, release the old tension, and stop tapping, relax your hands, and feel your breath flowing in and out of your heart. Slow your breathing down to 6 seconds per in-breath and 6 seconds per out-breath. Imagine your breath going in and out through your heart. 6 seconds in, 6 seconds out. And imagine a big empty space behind your eyes. Big empty space behind your eyes. And relax your tongue completely on the floor of your mouth. Big empty space behind your eyes. Tongue relaxed on the floor of your mouth. 6-second in breaths through your heart. And 6-second out breaths through your heart. And feel your heart's energy in the center of your chest. Breathing in through your heart. Breathing out through your heart. Now feel that energy in your heart and send a beam of energy to a person or a place that makes you feel wonderful. As you breathe in through your heart, 6 seconds, tongue relaxed on the floor of your mouth, big empty space behind your eyes. Send the energy beam to a person or a place makes you feel infinitely good. Breathing in through your heart, 6 seconds. Breathing out through your heart, 6 seconds. Sending love to that person or place. Now gently draw your energy back into your own heart. Feel the energy now inside your own energetic boundaries. Bundle of heart energy in your chest. 6-second in breaths. 6-second out breaths. Tongue relaxed on the floor of your mouth. Big empty space behind your eyes. And now send that heart energy to a part of your own body that needs love. Could be a part of your body that's sick or in pain or you don't love. Bathe that part of your body in your own heart's love. And now, with the next 3 breaths, prepare to bring your attention back to the environment around you. Feel your hands, feel your feet. On the third breath, open your eyes, look around you. Notice the biggest object you can see from where you are. Notice the smallest object you can see from where you are. Notice the biggest green object in your field of vision. Notice anything pink around you. And welcome yourself back to your body. Now, I induce the state in you with those physiological cues. When you relax your tongue on the floor of your mouth, there's a nerve called the hypoglossal nerve in your tongue, which runs to a nerve complex in the base of your skull, then to your vagus nerve, and sends a relaxation signal all the way through your body. When you breathe through your heart, 6 seconds in, 6 seconds out, you go into heart coherence. When you picture a big empty space behind your eyes, your brain shifts from beta frequencies to slower alpha frequencies, which gives you access to your slowest frequencies of theta and delta, in which you feel connected to the universal field, and also which trigger powerful regenerative signals in your cells. I was amazed writing the book to find out that there are many frequencies our cells are attuned to, and many of them are produced by our own brains when we're in that alpha, theta, delta state. So we'll be training you over the course of the 7 weeks to induce this state in your body. You'll learn to feel really good. So I can't hook you up to the EEG, but I'll know that when you're in this physiologically regulated state, that you're having all kinds of wonderful things happen inside your brain, inside your body. Neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine are going to balance. Cortisol is going to go way down. Your main health-giving hormone, DHEA, will go way up. Your immunoglobulins will rise. All kinds of great things will happen inside your body when you do these simple physical things. We'll also tie the meditation to different parts of the course for each of the 7 weeks. So we'll have practical exercises and handouts that are unique to this course over the course of each week. So again, I'd love to have you there. Go right now to the website and sign up. It's mindtomattercourse.com. We'll have a great time together. We'll share and cultivate synchronicities in the Facebook group. And now we'll take a break for the last half of the program to take any and all questions. No question is too long, too short, too silly, too involved. I'd love to hear whatever you say. Before we came live, Lisa said, "Oh, Dawson, this question, I'm not sure I should ask you." I said, "I don't mind. I'll take any questions." So whatever you have, go ahead and enter it now. Ask it. I'd love to answer your questions for the next half hour.
All right. Well, thank you, Dawson. I'm looking forward to this conversation. We have the rest of our time together to dive into your questions for Dawson. Again, the course is the Mind to Matter Laboratory, and it begins Thursday, June 28th. And you can see the website down there at the bottom. It's mindtomattercourse.com. So let's go ahead and get into some questions here. We've got a question here from Robin, who says, in order to reverse your health or damaged DNA cells by using your imagination, which one does it come from? The brain, thought, or mind?
Well, the thoughts and the activities of mind are one level of shifting your consciousness. What they then do is they shift your brain. And what I'll show you in the course of the 7 weeks is the changes that happen that in the brain and how we measure these with the EEG. So your brain has an energy field which we can measure. We hook you up to an EEG or an MRI, we can measure that. When you change your mind, when you shift your consciousness, those EEG signals change not a little bit, they change radically. And the two waves you start to make more of are theta and delta. And delta has all kinds of regenerative properties that help your cells communicate, and it helps the formation of new of strengthened bone cells, skin cells, especially epithelial cells. It results in the repair of cartilage in your body. Theta has a whole range of cellular functions it improves. And some research shows, for example, that when healers are in a theta brainwave state, that it has a potent anti-cancer effect. And so it's actually helping your body, triggering the processes that identify which cells are cancerous or malformed or malfunctioning, and then it helps your body figure out which cells those are and eliminate them. So these two frequencies of theta and delta, in terms of millivolts, will show you how they go from this big in the right and left hemispheres to this big in the right left hemispheres when you're in that eco-meditation state I just guided you through here. So it's triggering all these cell repair processes in your body. So you're using your mind to change these electromagnetic signals that are passing through your brain. Now, the other cool thing that happens is that over time, when you do this for the whole 7 weeks, and hopefully you'll be doing it for the rest of your life, it's prompting neural growth. And in chapter 1 of Mind to Matter, I have a case history of a man who did this for 8 weeks. Did this for 8 weeks, and it triggered growth in his brain. The emotional regulation part of his brain is called the dentate gyrus. The dentate gyrus in his brain grew by 22.8% in 8 weeks. Massive shift in neural patterning. So yeah, 22.8% more tissue in his dentate gyrus in the middle of his brain after 8 weeks of mindfulness. So your brain will literally be changing. So you'll use your mind, you'll cultivate these patterns, they'll show up in an EEG, it'll shift the way your brain functions, and that different functioning is producing then over time structural changes in your brain. And so you get used to cultivating those theta brain waves that have a massive effect on your health. In one study, the researchers were looking at certain brain waves and showed that they were doing things like clearing Alzheimer's plaques out of the brain. So big shifts in functioning, big improvements in health as a result of cultivating these naturally occurring brainwave frequencies.
Wow. Fascinating. Thank you for that. Let's go into a question here from Lion, who says, what tools do you offer other than EFT? And does the brain or neural activity create consciousness, or does consciousness create the brain?
Does the brain create consciousness, or does consciousness create the brain? So we give a whole selection of tools, and my goal is to have you experiment with many different tools because there's no one size fits all. EFT isn't the right tool for everybody. Meditation isn't the right tool for everybody, at least meditation in the form of sitting there for an hour or 2 hours. In the famous studies of Tibetan monks, they were sitting there in meditation for 4 hours a day for over 30 years. That changed their brain function. Most of us don't know that kind of time. So I'm going to introduce you to a whole range of techniques, about 30 techniques in all, and then I'll encourage you to put together a collection of them that works for your lifestyle. Now, I will say that I'm going to hope everyone does pick meditation at least for 10 or 20 minutes every morning. I think that's really the cornerstone of setting yourself up biologically for a healthy and happy life. Also, I want you to learn EFT tapping because that's what gets you back on track when you're off track during the day. So you get that phone call, that email, you have a fight with your coworker, you have an argument with your teenage daughter, maybe you have a fallout with your spouse. EFT gets you back on track quickly and to that homeostasis you established during meditation. So I think those two are the two fundamental ones I want you to learn, but there are around 30 others which I find extremely useful. Just for example, in the last 6 weeks I flew to Europe and back, and I had zero jet lag going there and coming back. I was able to go there, and within a day I was teaching a 3-day course on psychological trauma No jet lag. Why is that? Well, I was using tools. I was using all kinds of energy medicine tools other than meditation and EFT, which can very quickly regulate your physiology. So I want you to be exposed to a lot of them in the course, and then you'll pick the ones that fit naturally with your lifestyle. So consciousness is literally creating shifts in the material matter of the brain all the time. And there's even research suggesting that the observer effect is creating the material world all the time, because we know from the double slit experiments that when a subatomic particle is observed, it collapses the possibility wave into a single probability. So electrons exist in this infinite number of possibilities, but when they're observed, they collapse into a single probability. And there's a sense in which consciousness is collapsing our field of possibilities into a set of probabilities all the time by our consciousness. Now, the problem with this is that we tend to be collapsing it into the same material reality all the time. We wake up in the morning, I think, did I get a, and I do this every day, I'm sure you do too. I sent that email yesterday. Did I get a response from that person? And will I like what they said in response? So here I am. I'm recreating my new day. I'm collapsing my new infinite possibilities into the same probability I had it collapsed into yesterday and the day before and the day before that, and the year before that. And so my life doesn't change very much. If I want to change, it takes a lot of sweat and effort and coaching and goal setting. So what I'll be arguing for is relaxing and merging every day with the infinite field, non-local mind, and not getting all attached to those probabilities that you've been creating for the last 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, 50, 60, 70 years. Detaching from that, being in the unknown, not goal setting. I'm going to attempt to convince you that by goal setting, you are in fact using your conditioned mind, your old consciousness, that's the result of your upbringing, your childhood, and the reality field you have right now, to recreate your present and your future so it looks just like your past, or not very different anyway. Whereas if you use this creatively, you can open up those possibilities. You're then creating from non-local mind, and the field is then creating through you. You find remarkable synchronous things that happening in that miraculous way. When I was writing the chapter on synchronicity for the book, I had this whole series of really unlikely events put me on a panel with a few other scientists at an event. I wasn't supposed to be there. There was a scheduling conflict. I wasn't supposed to be there at all. I just wound up there, sitting next to a guy, another scientist, who had just written the key paper linking our local experience to non-local huge, these called electromagnetic fields that surround the Earth's geomagnetic field. This guy just written the definitive paper on geomagnetic fields and how they coordinate with human activity. And there I was, synchronously getting exactly the material I needed during the week when I was writing that chapter for the book. And I just learned to live my life synchronously in that way. So what you try and pull yourself loose from the attachment to recreating your future out of your past, and instead you align yourself with a realm of infinite possibilities and become a co-creator with that synchronous universe. And then what that produces in your life is very, very different. So consciousness and mind then are creating different things in your body. They're creating different things in your cells. They're creating different things in your health. They're creating different things in your relationships. They're creating different things in terms of money and abundance and career. All these things can shift extremely rapidly when you detach yourself from that habit of collapsing the possibility field into the same probability set that you've been using all along.
Okay, thank you. Then let me ask a question here from Linda that just came in. She's saying, so when we're in the flow of synchronicity, can we take that to mean that we're on the right path?
Synchronicities are often a way of nudging you in a certain direction. And when you pay attention to them, this is really cool research. I think this is so interesting that if people are believers in these non-local phenomena, that they have more of them happen. If you don't believe in them, they tend not to have. They happen much less frequently to people who don't believe in them. If you don't believe in synchronicity, it's much less likely to happen to you. If you observe synchronicity, it's more likely to happen to you. If you are learning lessons from synchronicity and cultivating synchronicity, it then becomes a life for you. It's your lifestyle. And so, yes, you have far more of them, and they are nudges and messages from the universe. Again, I find they're happening to me all the time. I'll just be being nudged in one way, in some little simple way or another, and I'll pay attention. I'll follow that intuition. Like, just in the last couple of weeks, I've had little urges to do certain things. I was on a marketing call with Hay House, and the marketing call ended. We'd spent an hour on the phone. Their team had been on the phone. My team had been on the phone, and I just got this little intuitive nudge to ask them a key question. I just said, what would it take to put a book on the New York Times bestseller list? And they said, oh, well, we can tell you exactly. It'll take this, 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 and this. And I said, and how close is Mind to Matter to being on the New York Times bestseller list? And they took a look at the numbers, and they said, oh, really close. So I was listening to that little inner voice that was saying, ask that question. Now, we were about to wrap up the whole meeting. I know it had asked the question, but I was listening for that. And then synchronously, we then began to move the whole reality field in that direction. So when you listen to those and take those nudges seriously, they multiply, and you then find you're working with the universe to create your life. So you're not struggling to create your life. You're listening those intuitive nudges, and you're collaborating with the universe. Like I asked the question in the book, I'll be asking you the question in the course. Look at those birds flying in flocks around the sky. Do you think you're exempt? Do you think the universe doesn't have a plan for you? Is the universe not guiding you in the same way as it's guiding them with every moment? And obviously not. The universe cares about you. I'll give you one tiny example, and this is just how trivial it is, okay? So a few years back, I was shopping. I was in the store, and I was going through my shopping list, buying all the stuff on my list, and I got this little intuitive nudge, buy Kleenex. Now, it's taken me a long. I'm a slow learner. Don't be a slow learner like me. Now I get an intuitive nudge. I do it. Back then, I would argue. My left brain would say no, and my left brain that day said, "I know I have Kleenex in the bathroom. I know also I have a Kleenex box in the bedroom, and I have a Kleenex box in the guest bedroom, and they all have Kleenex. I do not need to buy Kleenex, so I didn't buy them." And so, very confident I was right, I went back home with my shopping, and I went into the bathroom, and sure enough, there was a Kleenex poking out of the Kleenex box. And I pulled it out, and it was the last Kleenex. So I thought, oh, well, I know I have a box in the bedroom, walked over there, pulled that Kleenex out. It was the last Kleenex. I don't need to even tell you how the story ends. Went to the guest bathroom, pulled that Kleenex. It was the last Kleenex. I only had 3 Kleenexes left in my 3 Kleenex boxes. And I thought, I was like looking up at the sky and saying, universe, don't you have better things on your mind than guiding me about buying Kleenex in the store? And it's not that the universe is scripting our lives that way. It's when we're in synchrony, we then are part of that flow of life, just like the birds and the fish and the trees. We have a synchronous life. We're noticing those signs. We're observing them. We're not using our left brains to argue ourselves out of them and collapse the possibility wave into the same probabilities we've been doing for the last 20 or 30 or 40 years. Instead, we are listening to those intuitive nudges. We're following them, and they wind up putting us in the seat next to the scientist who's just done the study, not published yet, that we need to write that chapter of our book. It's that specific. From the galaxies to the Kleenexes, you learn to live that synchronous life.
That's a great story. I hope you had plenty of toilet paper on hand as a backup.
And I've never run out of Kleenex since.
Perfect. All right. Well, that's very funny. Let me ask you, there are a lot of people who are asking about specific illnesses. And because we can't ask everyone's question, let me just sort of make it a big lump question. What can this work do to help cure illnesses? And what can it do? And what can't it do?
Yeah, very good question. What can it do for specific illnesses, and what can't it do? And so, what I'll show you early in the course is a picture of the autonomic nervous system. So, you have your brain sitting in this big cranium up here. Then you have the autonomic nervous system running down your spine and then branching out, and the nerves go all over your body. They control your digestive system, your circulatory system, your skeletal system, your muscular system, your immune system. Every single system in your entire body is controlled by that autonomic nervous system, and it is two halves. And we've known about these two halves. Galen, the Roman physician, in 0 AD knew we had these two halves, the sympathetic half and the parasympathetic half. One half handles stress, the other handles relaxation. And so these nerves run throughout that system all the way through your body. Now, when you use these stress reduction techniques, it is sending a signal not just to one organ or one organ system, it's sending a signal to all of them. So you're shifting the level of homeostasis throughout your entire body. It's remarkable. We watch people, and you can measure this pretty easily with a heart coherence device, which we'll do over the course of this online course. I'm going to be bringing a bunch of gear into the lab. You'll be seeing me hook people up, hook myself up, and we'll actually be doing this stuff over the course of those weeks. You'll literally see people shift from high stress mode, high sympathetic nervous system tone, to relaxation mode as the stress mode goes away. They're now in high parasympathetic tone. And then those nerves are affecting every single organ system in your body. You're now becoming much healthier overall. That's also shifting gene expression. One study of EFT showed that 1 hour of EFT tapping shifted the expression of 72 different genes, very different genes to do with metabolism, genes to do with cell repair, genes to do with cognition, genes to do with the repair of the myelin sheath around the neurons in your brain. That's the same myelin sheath that, if it's degraded, results in MS. So many diseases start to improve when you overall improve the level of autonomic nervous system function. So I encourage you to focus not on individual disease, but on improving the big picture. When the big picture improves, then all of these small picture things start to shift as well. I just want to tell you one story, which I've been telling a lot lately, about one friend of mine who was diagnosed with breast cancer last year. And exactly a year ago, actually, she was diagnosed with breast cancer. And on a scan, mammogram, they found a lump in her breast. They also found that the cancer had metastasized to her lymph nodes. And so your lymph nodes are meant to conduct this clear fluid called lymph all over your body. And the lymph nodes under her arm were full of cancer cells. So now they knew that the cancer had metastasized and spread out from the primary tumor. They also then found 3 spots on her lung, which looked as though it was spreading now to her lung. So again, a very serious case. Tumor in her breast, cancer cells in her lymph nodes, and then it spread to her lung. And she also was a woman with the financial means to get help. And so she called me, emailed me, and she was really worried. She got a gene test. She said, Dawson, it found 8 defective genes. So now, not only does she have cancer, she has the belief that, oh, I have 8 defective genes. And now I can't get better because my genes say that I have this genetic predisposition to this cancer. She also chose to use conventional medicine as a backup, but not as a primary treatment. She began to address it through energy medicine. She began to tap, began to meditate. She did a course of Qigong. She got rid of the stress in her life. She just got rid of everything that caused stress in her life. She cleaned up her diet. By September, her lymph nodes had cleared up. It is 3 months. Her lymph nodes had cleared up. The spots in her lungs were gone. And that tumor, first of all, turned necrotic, which is just a fancy word for dead. Just tumor just died. She produced a biochemical and energetic environment in her body, which didn't allow those cells to live. They died. Those were swept out of her body, cleaned up by her body, and her markers in September showed her to be cancer-free. Energy is powerful. Energy heals. And so again, she wasn't trying to cure cancer. She was focusing on her overall health, reducing her stress, changing her whole ratio of sympathetic to parasympathetic nervous system tone, and then her body just naturally took care of that metastasized cancer. So that's where I want you to focus on overall health in that way, and then get the big picture right, and a lot of the little picture details come right as well.
Okay, thank you. Looking at the clock here, we have time for another question or two, but before we do that, I want to give a few details about the course itself. Again, it's called the Mind to Matter Laboratory, and this is going to be just a fascinating 7-week journey under Dawson's guidance where you'll harness the power of your thoughts to improve your health and find fulfillment based on groundbreaking research in the fields of epigenetics, psychology, quantum physics, and more. And the 7-week course takes place on Thursdays at 5 o'clock Pacific, starting Thursday, June 28th. And if for any reason you can't join us live, that's fine. You won't miss the teachings. You'll receive audio and video recordings, transcripts, and all course handouts on your course homepage. And also, we offer a no-risk money-back guarantee on all of our courses, giving you a full 2 weeks until July 12th in this case to make sure that it's a good fit. And as an added option, all participants are welcome to connect in that private Facebook community group that Dawson talked about, so you can stay connected with one another and with Dawson. Also, everyone who registers receives the Mind to Matter Laboratory Bonus Collection. First, you'll receive a digital version of the introduction and Chapter 1 of Dawson's new book, Mind to Matter. Next, you'll get an audio interview by Dawson Church with Donna Eden and David Feinstein entitled Relationship as a Spiritual Journey. Then you'll receive audio teaching from Dawson called Brain Change with Tapping and Meditation. Change your brain with meditation and acupressure. Plus, you'll get an audio dialogue with Dawson and Dean Radin entitled The Observer Effect. And when you register by midnight Pacific on Friday, June 22nd, you'll receive this additional bonus gift, and that is an ebook from Dawson entitled Psychological Trauma, Healing Its Roots in Brain, Body, and Memory. So before we get back into questions, Dawson, let me ask, what are you most looking forward to sharing in your upcoming course?
I am looking forward to seeing people shift. One thing we haven't actually emphasized enough is I'll be working with people on those calls one-on-one. And what I'll be doing is be chatting on the Facebook group. I'll pick people and we'll then do a live mini session with them right there during many of the calls. So we'll do this. This is also a video course. We will be doing large chunks of it on video. So you'll see me, you'll see the person, I'll be doing work with them, and you'll literally see people shift. We'll be measuring their shifts in various ways, and you'll see them change. So when you see a person who has, say, for example, a lifetime belief, a lifetime habit, a lifetime limitation, just let it go. In a 20-minute session, it'll bring tears to your eyes. There'll be a lot of tears as well as there'll be a lot of laughter, I promise that for sure. But there'll be a lot of really deeply moving times here where one-on-one I'll work with people and you will see people shifting. So that's where you see these profound changes. The information is really there, only there to inspire you to apply these tools in your own life. And so I want to see you people shifting, and you will see people shifting dramatically over the course of the 7 weeks, just the way that man I mentioned, Graham Phillips, had a 22.8% growth in his dentate gyrus in his brain, literally 22.8% more neural volume in that part of the brain in 8 weeks. It's possible to shift that way. And behaviorally, spiritually, emotionally, you will see people shift. And that is just pure magic to witness.
All right, awesome. Thank you. Well, let's go ahead and take a quick question here. This is from Martha, who says, is consistency the most important thing?
Martha, consistency is important once you've learned what to do. Now, I'm I don't want to sound I don't want to sound a negative note here, but there is a lot of bad advice out there. There's a lot of bad medical advice. There's a lot of bad health advice. There's a lot of bad mental training advice. There's a lot of bad advice. That's why I am such a believer in science. I want to know. I want to know what science says about this. I want to know. I want to read the studies, and I want to know the facts there. And so that's why the book and the course is what's called evidence based. And just for example, and again, I don't want to be sounding negative here, but like I struggle with meditation. I went into a meditation course when I was 15 years old, and I could never meditate until I developed this eco meditation method, which is so simple that everyone can do it. I tried other kinds of meditation, and there were some that most of them were really ineffective for me. And so you want to know how to get from point A to where you want to be in point B as quickly and efficiently as possible. And if you read the tabloids, if you go out there on the web and start searching, you will get an absolute deluge of bad advice. Wikipedia, for example, is full of astonishing, it's an amazing collection of a lot of it completely unscientific material there. It's just amazing. I was on a website the other day looking at a real encyclopedia, and then the Wikipedia entry for a certain topic. And the Wikipedia entry was just so wildly off base. And people are reading this stuff and thinking it's true. And so you don't want to be wasting your time and doing inefficient stuff. You want to be making the most use of it. I have one friend who talks about this. He says that before he used the EEG and hooked up his brain, he was meditating, trying to meditate for many, many years. He said it was like trying to meet a friend of yours at night in a city and parachuting into the city, and all the street lights are off and all the street signs have been removed. And there you are wandering around a strange city in the dark trying to find the place where your friend is. He said once you learn these science-based techniques, it's like having all the street lights lit and all the direction signs available to you and a GPS. You go straight to the target. That's what you do when you use science-based techniques. When you don't, you're trying this, you're trying that. Does it work? Well, maybe a little bit, maybe for a little while. EFT is another good example. EFT is not a trademarked term. And so there are so many variations of EFT. We found people call themselves EFT practitioners who've only seen one YouTube video, and then they're doing it, and they don't know much about EFT. EFT, when I show you what to do, it's called clinical EFT. It's based on over 100 clinical trials, all of which are structured according to the evidence-based standards of the American Psychological Association. All of my trainings are accredited for continuing medical education by the American Medical Association, by the American Nurses Credentialing Commission, by the APA, and by the Social Work Commission. So all of the stuff in the course is evidence-based. It's not an airy-fairy guess as to what works. It's sending you straight to the target. And you'll feel those changes in your body. When I say that serotonin and dopamine are changing, you'll feel what that feels like inside your body. And then you'll know how to go straight to the target when you're on your own, meditating the next morning. So that's the real benefit of doing this work. It is effective, and I really want to let you know that we try lots of things. Just another example. There are all kinds of binaural beats tracks and music tracks and apps which say our apps will put you into delta or put you into theta. We hook people up to EEGs, and they don't. They just don't. It's just marketing hype, you know. So we hook people up to EEGs, and they not only sometimes do they not put you into delta, they give you a splitting headache. So there are all these claims out there. What does science say? That's why you have to stick with the science. And that's why I'm a believer. I'm passionate about the science. And if it's not scientific, maybe it's possible. I'll hold the possibility out there. But until I see a study that shows it's a fact, I'm not inclined to believe it. So this whole course is those things that they're going to get shortcuts that get you straight to the target and not just good guesses.
All right. Wow. Well, this has just been, as usual, a fascinating hour. I want to thank our viewers for being with us today and for all of your terrific questions because you help make these conversations so interesting. The Mind to Matter Laboratory starts Thursday, June 28th. And again, you can visit mindtomattercourse.com to learn more and to register. So, Dawson, before we cut you loose, do you have any final words for our viewers?
Let's just spend a moment before we close the call and breathe in our hearts, be in our hearts. It's so powerful to shift your attention from head to heart. I know before this call, I shifted into my heart and just sent love to everyone there. And that shifts you physiologically as well. So just feeling our group energy field. We will be creating a huge group energy field during the course. And right now, on this call, we're in that field. So just shift your heart, breathe your heart, feel yourself one with this community of healing. That alone is producing shifts in your body. And as we do this week after week in the course, we will catalyze those shifts in this beautiful, gorgeous, glorious energy field we will create together. So look forward to seeing you there. And until then, be in your heart, be in that space every moment. Thank you.
All right. Beautiful. Thank you again, Dawson. And as usual, it's been great talking to you today. Time goes so fast. So thank you for being here today.
It's been a joy. I'll see you inside the course.
All right. Great. Well, once again, I want to say thank you to everyone who joined us today. On behalf of all of us at the Shift Network, I wish you well and look forward to seeing you on this course or perhaps another one in the future. Either way, have a great night, everyone.